to our 4-H Focus video series, and today I am joined by Angie Barnard. Hi, Angie.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your involvement in 4-H.
Sure. I grew up actually in Iowa, North Central Iowa, and was a 10-year 4-H member there. My favorite project was swine, and was lucky enough to go to National 4-H Congress as the Iowa delegate in swine. But I also took home improvement and financial literacy and foods and things like that. I went to Iowa State University and graduated with a degree in public service and administration and agriculture. So I always think about the work that 4-H is doing in college and career right now. And I kind of wish I had some of that back then, because I really didn't know what I wanted to do, but it was a broad ag career, and I had a minor in agronomy. And so I spent 4 years there, and then went to work with Dow Chemical, and moved to Illinois in 2005 and started working for the University of Illinois College of Business, raising money for them. And now I find myself working as the director of the 4-H Foundation. But my family, we live up by Gibson City. I have a husband and 2 children who actually are in 4-H in Champaign County. And so we enjoy cattle as a project, and they do some other things too in the general project area. So.
Okay. All right. You mentioned home improvement as one of your projects. What did that entail? I've never heard of that one.
Well, funny you say that, because my daughter wants to learn about refinishing a bowl or furniture. Okay. And so I was looking, that's what it is. It was really refinishing, learning about balance and proportion, and decorating. And so it was interesting because I had to ask some friends in the state 4-H office as to what project do I enroll her in, if she wants to learn something like that. So I really enjoyed that, and actually used some of those things that I did in my home today. So it's kind of fun.
Yeah. So that would be our interior design project now, right? I believe that's
what I was directed to do. Yeah, I kind of wondered whether it was a woods visual arts project, and that was one of them. I thought it would be woodworking, but never once would have thought interior design. But yes, so that is the project she's going to try this year.
Great. Yeah, I was thinking of the project manual for interior design, and those are the things that they look at that you mentioned, like the design elements and using your space and things like that. So, well, I hope she has fun with that project.
Yeah.
Yeah. Besides for your children, are they involved in other 4-H activities, or have they done anything else? I know Alex is a bit older.
Right. So I have a junior high son. He just did junior leadership conference, which was virtual, and he actually enjoyed that. I have to admit that he was like, oh, I'm not, some of the school is virtual, and so he wasn't sure he wanted to sit on a weekend, but he really did enjoy that. And he's really at that age now where he's trying to figure out what types of things he wants to put his energy and effort towards, as far as learning how to be a leader, and trying to spread his wings and maybe step outside of his comfort zone. And so other projects that he takes, he likes to bake and cook, so he's in foods, but he has had some success with crops, both corn and beans. He's a very big farmer, and so he likes to be out and about and learn about that. And so tractors will be his new project this year that he's going to try. So great. My daughter Breck, she's a little bit younger, she's 10. She was a Clover Bud, so she started as a Clover Bud when Alex was already a member in a community club, and she bakes and likes to be in the kitchen. She has done some visual arts. She's very creative. Again, I mentioned that she's going to try refinishing this year, and then also she shows cattle too. So they both attended 4-H Memorial Camp in 2019. It was their first year. Loved it. They weren't so certain they were going to, but they loved it. Really missed it this past summer, and hopes that they can get back out to camp at some point in time. So, we have appreciated being able to stay connected. Our club has continued to meet via Zoom, with some growing pains, but you have that with adults. You're obviously going to have that with all ages of kids too. but really continuing to hone their public speaking skills and think about best practices and trying, as they're getting older, it's us as parents stepping away a little bit and letting them try to do an outline and put it together themselves, and then we help them refine it more than anything. So it's been good for the whole family.
Good. Yeah. Well, and it sounds like they're well-rounded. I mean, the variety of projects that they're taking, and yeah, glad to hear that they liked it.
It is.
Yeah, and I'm glad that they liked camp. It's a lot of kids get nervous about going away to camp for the first time and being away from home and no technology, but yeah,
right.
That's great.
Yeah, they learned some skills, and Breck became a fisherman, and so even during the pandemic early on last spring, when no one could find worms and bobbers, she was out there fishing, and so that kind of brought back some of those things that she learned from there. And we're not. I'm not one of those parents. I often think back and it's all karma, right? I think back to my mom helping me get my projects ready for the fair and doing record books. And now I'm in that role. I often tell her, now I know what you mean. But record books are really important to us. And, that has been a process too, as a family, that we've had to really work through. Sometimes we're good at taking those records and other times not as much. And so it's a little bit more effort towards the end. But feel that that'll be really important, especially as the kids start to apply for scholarships and things.
Absolutely. So. Yeah. But yeah, that's definitely not the fun part of 4-H, but you're right. It's an important component of it. I mean, for the kids, and I look at all the stuff as adults that we have to do that involves keeping records of things. So yeah. Right.
Good life lessons. That's what it's all about, right? Good life
Absolutely.
Lessons.
Yep. They're learning and growing.
Right.
So you work for the 4-H Foundation. You're in charge of that for the state of Illinois. Can you tell me, or just tell us a little bit about that, what you do and what foundation is?
Right. So, okay, sure. So I am on my 13th year, believe it or not, of being the director of the Illinois 4-H Foundation. So that is the entity that raises private funds for the Illinois 4-H program as a whole. So it's kind of funny that life comes full circle. I never would have thought my career would be working with 4-H and asking people for money, but it really is very rewarding. And the foundation has evolved in that decade plus of years that I've been around. We're very proud to really, in essence, help the state 4-H programming do more, right? So more is better. Usually with everything, more is better. And so we feel that way even with funding and money, that if we can assist and diversify where the money comes from, that we can help the state 4-H program, and then ultimately the county succeed and try new things and really reach more youth. So last year we gave back over $500,000 to the state and counties, just in a variety of different ways, whether that's scholarships or that's grants or that's training for adult volunteers. That a big priority is to help kids get out of their local county, right? It's a little harder right now, but I'm always amazed at how many kids are just kind of almost locked down in their local county or neighboring county and have never ventured out maybe to campus at Champaign-Urbana or to Chicago or different places like that, or like you mentioned, 4-H Memorial Camp, to be outdoors. And so I'm just very proud of the board of directors that I work with, that work to build relationships that ultimately generate funds for people to invest in our program and more importantly, invest in the kids of Illinois. So yes, we're very pleased. To anybody who's ever been a donor, we always want to say thank you, because I think sometimes people think, oh, I can't give much, but it seems cliche, but it's amazing how much every gift does matter, and especially those gifts that allow us to use as we see fit and to meet kids and programming where we need it. So very proud to be a part of it.
Yeah. Well, it's terrific. And I know on my side that I've seen the support come through, both for our local members who, have won awards and college scholarships, others who have gotten scholarships to attend conferences like the Junior Leadership Conference or Illini Summer Academies, grants that are funded for us to do local programming or for the clubs. So I can attest to everything you just said on how much it helps. It helps individuals, families, the county and state program a lot on on helping bring the 4-H program to the youth. So we thank
Well, I'm glad to hear that. Obviously, it's great to see people take advantage of the funding and the support. And, you know, it's always very important for us to kind of tell our story. And we just put out the latest edition of the Clover Seed, which is really the annual report for the program and for the foundation. And it can be found on our 4-H Foundation website. But it is, you know, the year started off without masks and the year ended with masks. But it's so cool in each of our program areas to see how we've adapted and the good work that kids have done and how they've stepped up to help communities. And maybe in some cases, while it's unfortunate, you know, they've learned things about their communities or their friends or their families maybe they didn't know, you know, when it comes to food access and just a variety of different things like that, that it's amazing. We always pride ourselves in the fact that 4-H has a big belonging component and community service component. But I feel really that it was more than ever evident and just visually apparent by people outside of maybe our 4-H circle this year. And I think that's really neat. So.
Yeah, the kids have definitely persevered this year. They've gotten creative in finding ways to do things. And yeah, it's been a hard year, but definitely have come through with some new skills and new learning, right?
Right. And it's so important for the volunteers. I don't think people also understand the 20,000 plus volunteers, you know, that we have here in the state that make it happen. So, and for them to be able to pivot and for them to be able to get creative and say, you know, this is not how we do it. So yeah, I am a volunteer too. I'm a parent, I'm a volunteer, and I work every day of my life to help 4-H. Obviously, I'm really passionate about it, but appreciate the work that the staff does too, because it is a huge, it's just an importance. And as I talk to donors, the college and career readiness, the social skills that 4-H teaches our young people, the public speaking. I can't tell you how many times that I've met a donor that has said, 4-H is where I learned to run a meeting. 4-H is where I learned to get up in front of people and speak. And the reason that I have the ability to give back is because I learned it in 4-H when I was 8, 9, 10 years old, you know, and for people to attribute that, and it's how many 150 years old. I should know that off the top of my head, shouldn't I? But you know, it's a relevant program that stayed relevant. And while I always tell people that we still have our traditional core, but as 4-H alumni like you and I, we wouldn't want the program to look exactly like it did way back when. You know, the robotics program that kids can be a part of, and just the video production. I mean, look at, you know, what you're doing here, and you know, getting kids out into the environment and all those sort of things is just really super cool. And so it's fun to be a part of it. And I'm very pleased that my kids can be a part of it.
Yeah, what a great thing. Yeah, you obviously have a passion for 4-H, and I know that we appreciate everything that you do and that you give back to the 4-H program. I mean, it just really shows. In closing, what would you say is your favorite thing about 4-H? And I know you've listed a whole bunch of stuff today and you've so many positives, but what is your favorite thing, either as a parent or a volunteer or your job or as an alumni? What do you like?
Well, I think I can wrap up my youth experience, my professional experience, and my parental experience probably in one thing. And yes, you're right, there's more than one thing I would probably say, but it's really truly the people. Like I sit and I think, like, I still keep in touch with some of the other state delegates that went to National 4-H Congress with me in Chicago in 1993. You know, I just went through my memorabilia box a couple of weeks ago as I was cleaning up the basement and stuff, and it was just aha moments of the people that I still keep in touch with. And you know, same with professionally. Not only the people I work with, but the donors that I meet, and to hear their stories and how 4-H has impacted them and how they want to invest and just are so passionate about it. It's moving. I'm quite fond of many of them. I feel some of them are friends, you know, but also then as a parent, you know, it's important to Matt, my husband, and I, that especially with cattle and like camping, and hopefully with these leadership conferences, once they get back to being face to face, we've always expressed to our kids that, you know, we're an athletic family, sports are important, but sports can't dominate our lives. And the fact that they're probably not going to get a college scholarship and go play in the NFL or, you know, the WNBA or anything like that, you know. But they learn great competitive skills and great character skills in sports. But I've already seen, just in the short, what Alex has been in for 5 years, some of his closest friends live 2-3 hours away from us, that we've met via cattle shows.
Sure.
You know, and they keep in touch, and they just can't wait to get together. Or the people that they stayed in the cabin with at 4-H camp that they didn't know, and they're like, I'm not going to get along with anybody. And then at the end of the week, you know, there's tears because you don't want to leave. And so it's those ability to meet people outside your normal circle and to realize how different people are and to be accepting of people. You know, that's something we preach as parents. And so I guess all in all, yes, it's the people and it's the friendships and those things that will carry them through life. They don't necessarily believe us now, but I think it'll be one of those things when they're older and their parents are going to be like, you know, you might have known what you were talking about. So yeah, people.
Yeah, and connections. Yeah, that is great. Well, thank you again, Angie, for your time and for doing this interview with me. It's really great to be able to introduce you to people that might not know you and the things that you do for Illinois 4-H. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. It's been fun. It's kind of fun to talk about it all. So.
All right. And that's Angie Barnard with the Illinois 4-H Foundation today on our 4-H Focus.